Testing, 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 testing. 1, 2, 3. Hello everyone, welcome back to another Friday night live stream here at Christ-Centered Ironworks. So good to have you all here in my shop this evening. We've got a fun little stream planned out this evening where I will be working on some acanthus sleeves. Some of these I will be working on this evening is stuff that I will be doing in my presentation in Murfreesboro, Tennessee at the, what do they call that again? The Tennessee conference?
AACB.
The AACB conference. So
Yep.
That will be coming up here in a few short weeks. It's kind of crazy how quickly everything is
Snuck up on you.
how quickly everything sneaks up on me and catches up. So we got a lot of great items to take and give away this evening. So we have an acanthus leaf multi-pack that I'll be giving away. Pairs nicely with the demonstration this evening. I also have a little 66-pound Achaio anvil. That is the mystery tool for this month. Yes, we got the mystery tool in finally. But I have a little 66-pound Achaio anvil that I'll be giving away, and I'll go into the details on that when we get close to giving that one away. We also have some Atlantic 33 from Beasler Blacksmith that was sent to us. We've got a good cross section of that where you could probably make 2 hammers from it or a whole host of other smaller tooling from it. So that's going to be really awesome. So thank you, Mr. Beasler, for sending that out to us to be part of the giveaway. We also have Dave's Iron and Things. We have a 1 sticker pack to take and give away. So thank you for that, to take and give away. And we also have a I keep looking back here because they're back here. It helps me remind myself. We also have some beeswax from the Mr. Thomas Goodymoot. You know him, you love him.
Correct.
He gave us some beeswax to take and give away as well in this stream. So it ought to be a pretty awesome stream. It's going to be a little bit faster pace this evening because I need to take and be done and out of here by about 6:15 for the, we got to call it quits. So anything else to add, Jessica?
Yeah, quickly. We do have a sale going on right now at blacksmithingblanks.com where we have 10% off everything in the store. So that goes from blanks to tooling, digital downloads, you name it. And that is with code SPRINGTIME. And so all of this also is down in the description below. If you want to go after the stream or at some point, you can get the recap there.
Right on. Right on. So who do we have joining with us this evening before I get into the giveaway items?
Let's see. We have Laura Kennedy.
Hello,
Alec
hello.
Logan. Mitchell Edwards.
Mitchell Edwards, hello.
Mario EP18 says it is his first time joining us and he's from South America.
Right on, Mario. Congratulations. Well, not congratulations. Thank you for being here.
Grizz0220 says
I was about to congratulate him for being here. I'm like, it's not that big of a prize. Thank you, Mario, for joining us there. Roy's brain hairs get crosswired sometimes.
Debaka says, look at all those blue anvils back there. LOL.
Yeah.
Yep, it is the year of the mystery tool.
Yep, year of the mystery tool.
Thomas, howdy.
Thomas, hello, hello.
Robert Lannis, good to have you.
Robert, good to see you, brother.
Sunrise Side Ironworks says, good evening.
Hey, hello, good evening.
And let's see, we also have Roger Caldwell. He was in here before we even started.
Yeah, Roger Caldwell, thank you. Thank you for joining us, good sir. So, okay, I'll actually go, so I'm going to go over a little bit about what I'm doing this evening, and then we are going to jump straight into taking and giving away all the tools. So this way I can just get focused at what I'm doing, and I can progress that right along, and we don't have to have a bunch of interruptions along the way. So let's go to camera number 2, Jess.
All right.
So this evening I'm going to be working on this style of acanthus leaf. Now, this particular acanthus leaf I got cut out of a piece of 16 gauge, and the reason for that being is the type of tooling that we will be using with this styling of acanthus leaf. And so the style of tooling that we're going to be using is a fullering. It's kind of like a swedge and a top fuller that's put together on a spring, and we'll see that here in a little bit. And so therefore, you got to have thin enough material to take and work this. And now we're going to be working all of this cold this evening, so none of this is going to be heated up. This isn't hot work. Now, you may notice that the scale on this is a little different, other than just like a fresh piece of material. And that's because I have went ahead and annealed these. So I have heated them up in the gas forge, and then technically annealed is a strong word. We have normalized them. We've heated them up and we've let them cool down slowly in order to soften the material. So this way we can actually work this cold. The reason to work this cold is we get a lot more control over where we're putting our lines, and we don't get so much displacement issues. Because really, when you're working with leaf work, we're forming things. We're not necessarily forging them. These are getting formed. They will be added to forged pieces later, but the more of the work on this is forming them versus forging, because we're not changing the cross section. We are just forming the cross section. So that's an important distinction there. So there you go. Now, over at our website, we can go back to the main cam, Jess.
All right.
So over at our website, we have that in 16 gauge, and we also have it in a 10 gauge thickness. Now 10 gauge is considered really heavy or very chunky. It's considered heavy leaf work. You would use that on something, say, like a gate, right? Something that's going to be outdoor, needs to be pretty rugged. You would use the finer leaf work, like the 16 gauge and lighter gauges, for things where they're not going to be heavy use. Window grills, indoor pieces, railings, things like that. That's where you would use a bit of the lighter gauge stuff, whereas on the heavy stuff, that's what you would do that's going to need to weather outside. If it was tissue paper thin when you start outside, once it starts to rust or once it starts to really weather, it's going to get even worse as time goes along. So that's definitely not what you want to do. So some of the tools that we're going to be using, we're going to use a marker to take and establish some layout lines. I'm going to be using a rawhide mallet to take and flatten and iron some things back out as we progress our shape. I'm going to be using a soft face hammer to hit the struck tool with. Now this is just a heavy, it's a heavy hammer. You don't have to use a heavy hammer. This is about 3 pounds to do this, but it helps overcome the mass of the tool that'll be struck. And then we will be using one of these spring fullering dies. These are like a spring top and bottom tool. So there's a top tool that is a fuller, and there's a bottom tool that is a swedge, and we'll go into more detail with that here in a second. But that's all the tooling that we'll be using this evening to get this acanthus leaf hopefully shaped. We may use a stake tool as well, just something to get it up off the edge of the anvil so I can roll out some of the lips and stuff like that. But we'll see how far along we get and progress into it as we go. All right, questions, Jess?
Let's see, your dad says hello.
Hey, Pop. Good to see you. Good to see you.
Wayne and Barbara, thanks for joining us.
Wayne, hello. Barbara, hello.
Laura Kennedy says, happy I could make the stream. Time zones make it fun. I'm in New Zealand.
Ooh, New Zealand. Yeah, I'm sure time zones make it fun if you're all the way from New Zealand.
Alec Logan says, oh, sorry.
Go ahead.
Alec Logan says, hello there, Roy and Jess. My
Hello.
name is Jason. I haven't gotten to watch one of these yet. I'm super stoked.
Awesome. So glad to have you here. So glad to have you here.
Rigid Ironworks says, you guys look like movie stars on the television in the shop, at least Jess does, LOL.
I look like the camera guy that really shouldn't be on camera, but I kind of just like wandered in.
Hey, what's going on here?
Oh, hey. Awesome. All right, cool. So let's get into some giveaway stuff. Let's get all the giveaway things out of my way so I can get after my regular work.
Okie dokie.
I'll bring over some of these giveaway pieces. Boo, boo, boo.
Ooh, James says it's been 90 in Florida.
You can have it. You can have it. Absolutely. All right, we ready?
Yes.
Okay, so I think the very first thing I'm going to give away, we're going to start with the smallest of the shipping items to give away. We're going to start with that first, and that is this little sticker bundle pack from Dave's Iron and Things. So let's go to camera number 2.
All right.
I don't know if they can see this okay.
Yeah, that works.
So we got an anvil with a little rounding hammer and pair of tongs there type sticker. A forge on with another rounding hammer, pair of tongs. We have a rose covered anvil graphic type sticker, which is really cool because this is like metallic. I think those stickers just look sick. They just look neat as all get out. And then we also have a Christ-centered Ironworks logo sticker in this multi-pack here. So all of those are going to go to one lucky individual. And I believe this is open both U.S. and international, correct, Jess?
Yep, that's correct.
As well. So we're going to go ahead and give away the sticker pack. Just say something like, sticker me please, down in the comment section down below, and Jessica's going to draw one name at random. Now, I will go back to the main cam, Jess. So the way these work, we have a lot of new people joining us. The way these giveaways work, Jessica selects one name at random from all the comments that are taking and rolling by on the screen. So she just kind of scrolls up and down real quick and picks whoever the cursor lands on. And then you have 24 hours to get with us to claim your prize. Otherwise, it gets given away at another live stream. So you got 24 hours to take and claim your prize, and there is a contact email in the description, right?
Yep, that's
sends
correct.
it over, and you can give us your details so we can get you your item shipped. Okay? Out to you. Sounds good?
Sounds great.
All the information you need to know about the giveaway is in the description. Okay? All right. In 3, 2, 1, go. Who do we have, Jess?
We have Vincent Loonman, flat farmer with stickers.
Vincent
Loonman.
Loonman?
Yep.
Flat farmer, right?
That's correct.
Congratulations. You're the winner of these the sticker packs. That's from Dave Iron and Things, correct?
Uh-huh.
Awesome. Thank you, Dave Iron and Things, for sending those stickers out to us that we could give away. Greatly appreciate it. All right.
Ooh, there's a wasp there. Go away.
If he bugs you, I'll go crush him
Okay.
with my bare hands. All right. We ready for this action?
Yes, we are.
Right here. See that right there?
That beautiful puck of
That is not a yellow
beeswax made?
hockey puck.
Oh, that's
ladies
why
and
it was
gentlemen.
around.
It's not. This is made by Thomas Goodymoot. So he made up this. He's made up a bunch. He went out and bought a bunch of bulk beeswax and made up some beeswax for the shop here and for himself. And so then he gave me some to give away. So awesome. So thank you, Thomas Goodymoot. You all know and love him as the hand model around here, for those of you who've been with the channel for a long time. So put something with wax in your comment. Are they already commenting?
Yes, they are.
Are they good?
I give them a heads up.
Here we go. Who do we have?
We have Pork Surfer. I would love some wax.
Pork Surfer. Well, now you can wax some things up while surfing on pork. Congratulations, Pork Surfer. You are the winner of the beeswax from Thomas Goodymoot. Thank you, Thomas, for giving us the beeswax to give away. All right.
I love when you guys get creative with the comments. They're fun.
They are fun, aren't they? Boy, I feel like we're moving right along. What time are we at?
We are
Pretty good?
at 5:18.
Wow. Okay. Yep. Time's slipping away. Time's slipping away. All right. Let's go to camera number 2 real quick.
All right.
So this right here is Atlantic 33. So Atlantic 33 is a pretty neat material. I'll let you guys do your own research on that online. For those of you who don't know what Atlantic 33 is, you can drop your comments down below. I'm sure somebody will help you out in the comment section as to what Atlantic 33 is. There is enough material here to definitely make 2 smaller hammers out of, which is nice, or roughly about the size of my forging hammer. There's enough billet mass here to be able to make 2 hammers out of that, or a hammer, or maybe a drift, or something like that. This is a great type of, this is a great material because it doesn't need to have a traditional heat treatment done to it, which is awesome. That kind of makes it a really handy material. Again, you can research this stuff online. There's a lot of papers out there about what you can use it for, and a lot of people stock it and carry it. But I got this particular section from Mr. Beasler at Beasler Blacksmith. He sent this over to take and support the channel and what we're doing here, so I greatly appreciate it. So I'm going to send this to one lucky individual when they drop a comment of A33 or something down below. Okay, back to the main can, Jess.
All right.
All right. Stipulations on that. You got all the stipulations on it.
US.
Is that going?
US.
This is USA?
Yep. That's correct.
Only? Okay.
Yep.
All right. So there you go. You heard it from her. USA only. Ready?
Ready.
3, 2, 1, go. Who do we have, Jess?
We have Robert Lannis with 33.
Hey, Robert Lannis. Congratulations, brother. You won some Atlantic 33 from us. You know what to do. Get with us through that contact email in the description. We need to know your mother's maiden name, your birth date, your blood type, pee in a cup,
Shoe size? Like, I don't
stool
know.
sample. No, don't. Don't send any of those things.
Yeah, you
Any
better,
of you.
better watch out requesting that.
Oh, all right. Right on. Congratulations, Robert Lannis. Let's move on to the Acantus leaf multi-pack, shall we? Let's go to
All
camera
right.
number 2.
Okay.
I want to show the various Acanthus leaves that are going to be
Yeah.
in this multi-pack. Now, these are provided by us through www.blacksmithingblanks.com. So these are provided to you by us. We cut these in-house. We manufacture this and about 200 other stylings of blanks over at our website. Be sure to check that out. I'm sure Jessica has that linked up down in the description
I sure
as
do.
well. Now these are cut from 10 gauge. Again, these are a thicker gauge than like for outdoor use. But they also make nice patterns as well that you can trace around if you need something really thin. You know, say you need to cut it from some 30 gauge material for practicing, you know, like some sheet tin. These can make great templates as well. You can order some 16 gauge from us as well in this style material, but tonight I had on hand some 10 gauge to give away. So that's what we're gonna do. There's one style there. Here's a blossom style for like rosettes. These look really nice in ironwork, especially when you have a nice big domed rivet in the center of it. We got this style of acanthus leaf here. And then the style that we'll be working on this evening as well. And again, all these are in 10 gauge. So there you go. That'll be given away from us, okay? Mm-hmm. All right. Everybody excited?
They are.
Are people commenting acanthus already?
They are. Yep.
Yeah? Yeah? All right, so we're going to give away this acanthus leaf multi-pack to one lucky individual.
All right.
In 3, 2, 1. Who do we have, Jess?
We have Eric Tollison with Leafy Me.
Eric Tollison, congratulations, you got leafied. You're the winner of the Acanthus Leaf multi-pack. Congratulations. Eric Tollison, right?
That's correct.
Congratulations, congratulations. All right, now for the big, big prize. And I've got to take and talk about that. So this was our mystery tool for this month. And so what I decided on doing is I decided to take and give an anvil. Now this anvil we have tested before here on the channel. You guys have seen them around. This particular one is actually from a destruction test that Thomas and I did to take and see how well they held up. So this is just sitting around my shop, just getting rustier by the moment. It's still a good anvil. It's still going to be a solid anvil for anybody to take and use, you know, for a beginner to take and get started with. And so I'm going to take and give it away. Now, that has a caveat to it. So one of the caveats, this is USA only. I can only ship it somewhere here in the US because I do not make enough money to ship it internationally. So that's caveat number one. Caveat number two is you accept all liabilities and risks by winning this anvil. What I mean by that is this was swung at with 2 very heavy sledgehammers by 2 dum-dums here on the channel. And so therefore there could be hidden fractures or hidden hidden flaws now within inside the anvil because we put it through one hell of a torture test. Now I did go through and clean up the anvil again, refinish the surface, and sanded the horn. But that doesn't mean that there couldn't be some cracks or some flaws inside of this anvil, especially with as much abuse as we put through. Hence why I can't sell this anvil to somebody in good conscience. But I can give it away to one of you if you are willing to take and accept the risk. Okay? So, do I think it'll blow apart on you? No, I don't really think so. But I can't make any actual claims to it or otherwise just because this thing has been put through the ringer. Now, to me, it still looks like a pretty solid anvil and good to go, but I do have to get all of that disclaimer out there. So if you win this anvil and you accept delivery of it, all of that is on you. So, okay? Mm-hmm. If you don't think you're a big boy or a big girl and you can't handle those type of risks, don't put a comment down below for the anvil, okay? That way we can save everybody a lot of time. Mm-hmm. But this should handle everybody's work just fine because who knows how much damage Olga's taken over the years before it got to me. Never know. I just like being honest with it. You have seen this in a video before with two big guys striking at it with no hot steel underneath it. So just be advised that that is what type of anvil you are getting into. Mm-hmm. All right, we ready?
Yes, we are.
What do you think?
Yeah.
What's people saying? Are people pretty excited?
They are ready to get rid of the railroad track anvils and move on up.
Yeah, right on. All right. So I hope this will be a move on up for somebody. Now there is some rust on here that's just developed by it's just sitting in the shop. I will clean all that up. I'm going to clean all this up, make it look like it's a nice, pretty new little anvil for you before I put it in the box and ship it out to you. But yeah, keep in mind, this anvil has been abused quite a bit.
It's a famous anvil.
It's a famous anvil. It's been destruction tested, as seen on TV. But in this case, maybe not the best thing to say. Just remember, you didn't get it from me. All right. All right, in 3, 2, 1, let's go. Who do we have, Jess?
We have Michael Rogers with I Accept Anvil.
Michael Rogers, I'm glad you accept anvil. Well, there you go. You get one of these anvils right here, the 66-pound Achaio anvil. Michael Rogers, congratulations. I hope it'll be a help to you. And yeah, so there's that mystery tool. Everybody give that a round of applause. Thank you to everybody who donates to these streams. Thank you to all the channel members. Thank you to everybody who does that. That allows us to do these giveaways and things like that because the shipping is not cheap. And we couldn't do it without you, our community, our lovely community. So thank you very much. So, all right, set that out of the way. Now we can get on to some real work, eh? Mm-hmm. Sound good?
Yes. Michael says thank you very much.
You're very, very welcome, Michael. All right. All right, all right. Put that down, put that up. All right, we ready?
Yes, we are, hon.
All right. Get a drink here.
Sunrise Side Ironworks says so close, one off. One name away.
Keep trying, brother. You'll get there. All right. Camera number 2, please.
All right.
All right, so the thing that we're going to be working on, like I said earlier in the stream, we are going to be working on this acanthus leaf here. Now, I've already went through the process of annealing this, and all this work's going to be done cold. I'm going to be wearing a nice heavy leather glove. Well, it's kind of heavy leather. It's not really that super heavy leather, but I find this is important. It helps reduce shock load on the hand as you're working a piece like this, and it still allows you to have somewhat tactile feel and hold the piece here. Now, this isn't hot. Obviously, I'm gripping it here, so it is cold. So now we're going to take a throw on some layout lines. The very first and most important line that we're going to put on this piece when we're designing this acanthus leaf here is we are going to do the center vein, or the main vein of this acanthus leaf. This is what all other things are going to branch and flow from. So we want to make sure that we put on a line that is nice and straight down the middle. Now you can adjust this line as you hammer or as you doodle it. The idea is to give yourself a reference line right down the middle. the best you can. Now you'll notice on this line that even though I go all the way down the middle on it, I am not going all the way out to the end. We need to leave some space there so this way we can shape this tip or we can get some dome to it or otherwise. We do not want this to run all the way out. It's going to fold that leaf in half, and that's not what we're after. We're just after getting a nice center vein on this. So the very first step in this process, before I draw in anything else, I'm going to go ahead and work on this center vein. And again, you know, you can dress this up, you make it as straight or as nice as you like. Now, keep this in mind. You are trying to make an organic shape or an organic leaf. So if this line is a little off one way or the other, don't worry about it, okay? Especially if you got about 200 more of these leaves to make. A little wander, this or that, isn't going to matter. The variety is the spice of life when it comes to organic ironwork because you're trying to emulate nature, and so that's important. So we're going to take and chase in this line first. This line is going to go on top, looking at us, and we're going to follow that with the top of our tool. Now, let's talk about the tool for a second. The tool itself is this right here. I don't know if they can see that well enough, Jess?
Yeah, it shows.
But basically, this is a swedge. Down here, there's a swedge depression, and then up here is just a simple fuller. Now, I have various different radiuses of this. This happens to have a 3/8 inch swedge with an 1/8 inch round fuller going into it. The reason for the width of that is to take and provide enough room for my material to go around, right? I don't want to shear off anything. I want to form something. So I need enough space for where my material's flowing through that die. That's important no matter what type of things you're working with. You don't want a 3/8 fuller with a 3/8 inch swedge because it's going to pinch off your material as soon as it contacts here, and you're going to start shearing that rib out versus forming a nice rib that can be further worked. All right, so we'll get into here. I'm going to go ahead and put the leaf tip in here. One other thing I should say, if you notice, look right here. See how that, can they see this okay, Jess, or should I punch in more?
If you're going to be mainly
Can they see that okay? I'm probably going to be mainly here now.
Yeah, probably punch in a bit.
I'm going to do mainly here, so let me set this up a little closer. Let me go back to camera one.
Yeah, I did.
A moment. Let me get that zoomed up. I had it zoomed out for the giveaway items so I could show off those better. Hopefully this will look good for them. Okay, I think that's good. Check that out now.
Okay.
Does that look good now?
Yep, that looks much better, yeah.
Much better? Okay. So, if you notice something about this tool is actually sitting down inside of this swedge. And that's kind of important. You don't want this dancing up here. You don't want this to have a ton of gap and you're not setting it here and then slamming it down on the piece. This piece is meant to clamp or almost hold that in place. See, you should be able to let go and that should hold that in place. That's how to properly set up a spring fuller. If you ever see a spring fuller and it's up here and it's kind of dancing and smacking down into a piece, it is set up incorrectly. The spring fuller should sit down in the groove when not in use, and you should be able to have to pick it up to put your piece in and set it down on there like that. That's an important thing because when we go to hammer on this, we have to deal with things like bounce. This thing can bounce around and bounce out of stuff. So that's something to keep in mind, and it's important. I'm just following my line here. Can they see that? So I'm bumping up a ridge.
Yep. Yeah, that's pretty definitive.
Pretty defined, right?
Yeah.
They see that okay? All right. So all I'm doing right now is to rough in a line. Now, these are originally set up, they can drop in the hardy hole, but they're also meant to actually go in a vise. They're meant to be locked up in a vise so I can use my vise. So I do either or. So these are spinning around. If you wanted to make these dedicated for either anvil or vise, I suggest you do that in your own shop. It just made most sense for me to leave them over here at the anvil for this particular demonstration. But that little turn it does is a bit annoying, I won't lie, because you have to chase it a little bit. See the ridge? Mm-hmm. Pressing up there. All right, so she's starting to twist on me a little bit, and I don't want that. So I'm going to go ahead and flatten her down using this rawhide mallet. And what that rawhide mallet's going to do is it's going to stop me from taking out my ridge I'm producing here. Hopefully that makes sense.
Mm-hmm. Dabaka says, get into the groove.
Yep, get into the groove. There you go. Mm-hmm. See that ridge right there?
Yes.
Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and stop for a moment, and I'm going to talk about something because it always comes up when you exhibit this kind of work, when we're doing this kind of work. Let's go up to the main cam, Jess. Mm-hmm. So this will be, as those who are normally around the channel know and love me for them, some of you not so much. But this is the equivalent of a Roy ramp. But I always get this no matter any time I actually exhibit doing things like leaf work, like this, fine leaf work. And the thing that always comes up, even if you do it, if you start doing stuff like this and you start sharing it out there in public forums, you're inevitably going to take and get the armchair quarterback that says, that's not real blacksmithing. That's not blacksmith work. And so I would like to take a moment and say a few things about that, right? So although we are not changing the cross-sectional area of this piece, we are forming it. And to be a good blacksmith, you need to be able to do both. You need to be good at many, many, many different techniques and processes, and it's not just forging. Specifically forging, changing cross-sectional area of material. That is not what defines smithing, okay? So you could be really great at making a big chunk of steel turn into a smaller chunk of steel and not be a very good blacksmith at all, or an artist, or be able to complete anything like a gate, a railing, anything, a candle sconce or nothing, okay? And you could be really great at forging, taking a big chunk of steel, making it a smaller chunk of steel, but that does not make you a great blacksmith, nor would it take and flow along those lines. Now, that's my opinion, and it's pretty rooted and grounded in facts. So, and not just theories. So whenever you're doing work like this, okay, when you're doing work like this, it's inevitably going to come up that this is not real forging. This isn't heated. I'm working it cold, right? I'm not changing the cross-sectional area, so it's not forging, right? It's forming instead, but this is still real blacksmith work. Okay? So I would rather not be a blacksmith and be a uberishly talented artist that's capable of handling multiple mediums in metal than to be a blacksmith and all I know how to do is like a dumb monkey with a hammer, change the cross-section of a square or a circle under a power hammer or just at a hand hammer. It is so much more rich. The craft in the history of forging work is so much more rich and diverse than that. And you have to really open your mind and expand your mind into moving into different ways and different directions, and not be so pure about, well, if it can't be heat and beat with a hammer, I'm not interested. It really holds you back as a craftsperson to do that to yourself. So do not subscribe to that kind of unintelligent argument, if you will. That would be my advice to you, especially if you are just beginning smithing. Everybody has their preferences, and that's perfectly fine, but this is real blacksmith work. This is high-level smithing work, okay? It's not low-level stuff. This isn't tissue paper. It's not little paper origami. It's not that easy. I may make it look simple, but this has a lot of complexity to it. From the forging of the tooling to make this, to make this seam, to the actual leaf itself, to the project that will be forged that this will be going into. So there is a lot of elements to computational forging, and you need to be good at those things. So I like to give that a little bit of encouragement. That'll be the rant for the evening there. But it always comes up whenever I do stuff like this. That's not real blacksmithing. And so I'm going to show you just a little example to finish that off, to kind of show you what I mean. Here's an acanthus leaf I was working for a storyboard earlier. Go to camera 2, Jess. Okay. So we start with a basic blank, right? We start with a basic blank. We start laying in our layout lines. It starts looking cooler. Hopefully they can see that. Obviously this has been sitting out in the bit of rainwater in the thing. And then we end and finish with something like this that is elegant and has a high degree of skill and labor involved in it.
Robert Lana said, agreed. I mean, you're still moving metal.
Yep, you're still moving metal, just in a different way. So that's kind of where you can expect this thing to go.
Tabaka says, ha, just one rant? LOL, impossible. GWI says, well said, Roy, rant one.
Rant one of many for the evening.
Trey Brunson says, this is awesome info.
Awesome. I'm glad you think it's awesome info. Okay, so we will move in to doing our next layout lines. Let's go to camera number 2, Jess. All right, now that we've got this in, now that we've got our center rib in, and all of this has to get cleaned up better than what I'm going to be doing in the live stream this evening. I will probably put the front of this on a French raising stake, and I will drive that kind of domey look to it. See how it's kind of like thick? That line is thick. I will drive this metal in on itself and make it more of a point, like a spear point, so it's sharper out here at the end. And then I will also have to do a lot of like little cleanup things and shaping and forming as I go. And this is a process of kind of going back and forth until you get your result of what you're looking for. But we could go ahead and start figuring out where our other lines are going to go. So for this particular thing, I actually want to take these here and I want to dome them as well. I want to take these here and I want to dome them as fullers, so flutes. So down through here, I want to ride those away from there. Can they see that okay?
Uh-huh, yep.
Okay, so it's kind of hard drawing on top of my head here. We'll get you guys the rough idea of where I'm going with it. Again, same side. Now, a lot of times, acanthus sleeves, to get the various folds and ruffles you see, they are done from two separate sides. So there's a lot of veins you may put in this way, and then you'll flip it and put other veins in the opposite way. And where those connect, that's what gives you all that ruffling that looks nice. And then for here, we're going to take this in, run it along. Remember, run that along. Do you see that there? Mm-hmm. Good. And then we'll probably run this along. something like that. Just like so. Now these are actually going to be run in with a much bigger fuller because I'm not trying to get a hard line with these. I'm actually trying to get these to have a nice, like a bit of a dome to them, a cup to them. So these are going to be run in with a different size fuller that will set me up better for my next thing. So I will go ahead and move this out and I will go to a much larger one. And then we'll form these.
Daniel Crawford says, spot on. And yesteryear Blacksmith did it, not just hammers and swords.
Yeah. Not just hammers and swords and knives and all that jazz. So, all right, here we go. So now I've put in a nice big 1/2 inch radius fuller. And I'm going to run these here. And then as I get further along, I might have to transfer back to a smaller one, but just to keep in with the correct size that we've got here. But I'm going to come here, and unlike the other one, I'm actually going to come out pretty far to the edge. I'm going to come out actually pretty far to the edge because I need this to take and cup nicely. I'm just following my already pre-described layout line. See that there? Mm-hmm. And see how it comes into the branch?
Joins nicely.
Does that look cool?
Mm-hmm. Sure does.
Sweet. Okay. Now I got to do that same thing to the other one, but before I do, I need to flatten the one that I just worked on. Now this is just to start this stuff laying out. Later on, I will actually want to increase the curvatures. I'm going to want these to go naturally the way they want to go. But right now, for layout and to put the things in there to start everything, I don't need this thing to warp. I don't need it to bow. I need it to stay in a flat plane as I work because this will get in the way otherwise. I don't want this to be all curled up like this and I'm trying to get in here and work these various pieces and angles. So something to keep in mind. There we go. All right, now work this other side. Questions, Jess? Comments? Complaints? Concerns?
Sure. Roger Caldwell says, I texture 90% of my stuff cold. To me, it's just easier.
So it just depends on the type of piece that you're working on. Some things require heat. Some things require a heat and beat. Other things require cold work. This just particular thing requires a nice annealed piece to be able to do cold. Nice. I'm liking how that structure's turning out.
Mm-hmm. That looks good.
What do you think?
Mm-hmm.
Look nice?
Does it matter whether you start at the smaller leaves in the front, or is there a technique to choosing the ones in the back?
No. Does it really matter which way you go? You just have to flatten as you go. Mm-hmm. So it will matter later on when I go to form this, because certain areas like the middle will be closed up, so that the edges, the far extremes will be there. So I will want to do as much cleanup work and stuff in the middle because those will be the hardest and most weird to get in at once this leaf starts closing up and turning into an acanthus leaf, turning all the way into the acanthus leaf where it's going to be at. So that will be the, how do I want to say, that'll be one of those things that I'll have to work on whenever it gets close to that. But as far as laying out, it doesn't matter because you're beating everything back flat. So you're just establishing lines right now, establishing your layout lines for further forming in the future.
Alec Logan says, what does annealing mean? I've heard it before, but I'm unsure.
Okay, so annealing, what it means to anneal something. So to anneal a piece of steel is to bring a piece of steel up to its critical temperature or just above its critical temperature. So fairly hot, fairly warm, okay? And you can research up your particular steel, what that is. Everyone has a different critical temperature, all right? In this case, this is mild steel. So to heat this up beyond critical, which critical doesn't really matter in this, we're just heating mild steel up to about a yellow. We want it to be around, well, not really yellow. Most shop lighting, you're going to be seeing like a bright orange color to a slightly bright red. So like a dull orange, bright to dull orange, or bright red color. And that's the temperature that you want to take and reach. And what that does is that allows the grain structure in here to relax. So when this thing is run through a mill, when this thing is coming off the assembly line, the rollers in the factory, this is undergoing a lot of temperature changes, and a lot of stresses are being built in that piece. Like a coat hanger, if you've been it a bunch of times, it would snap, right? Well, this material is going through a lot of those processes, and although it's not to the point where it would be brittle and snap, but it is still somewhat tough. It makes it tough, right, to take and work on. Well, when you heat it up, basically all those grains in the material get all nice loosey-goosey for you and softer. And the longer you can keep it at a hotter temp, the larger the grain growth becomes, and therefore the softer the piece is actually when you're working it. So to anneal a piece, you heat it up to that heat, and then you stuff it down in some sand, or in the mine, I stuff mine in some coal ashes, and just let it cool down slowly over time. Normalizing, you let it cool off in the air. Annealing, you let it cool over hours upon hours upon hours of time, basically insulated, and let it slowly come down. That way those grains aren't cooling too quick and making it brittle again, or making it tough, right? So that's kind of how you soften up a piece. Now that's a very base level explanation of the annealing process. So it's not 100%, I'm not giving you a 1,000% of the deep dive there, but that's a basic level thing for a blacksmith. A quick rundown, if you will. Down to camera 2?
Yep.
Good question. So I've moved down to a smaller size, fuller. Show that off. Pretty cool, pretty cool. Look good?
It does look good.
Okay.
Will it have to be re-annealed at some point?
Yep, if you keep going with it. So usually after you get your trace lines in, that's when you want to go ahead and anneal it. I see that?
Mm-hmm. Yep. And we do have a video on the channel on how this tool is made. It is titled Making a Center Vane Spring Swedge Tool for Acanthus Leaves. It was originally posted 3 years ago.
Long time, huh?
Yeah.
These are a little tighter. I made those to fit a little tighter in the hardy hole.
Mm-hmm.
All right, go down to the finest one now. Boom, back to the finest one. Do those last veins. Questions, Jess? Comments, concerns?
Sure. GWI says, awesome job, Roy. I wondered how to achieve this process.
Thank you.
Pogi, we haven't shown close-ups of the tool other than the current angle.
I can give you a close-up here in a minute.
James Hoffey says, this would be cool for our Earth Day demo tomorrow. I'll be doing roses and dogwood flowers. Maybe next time.
Hey, very cool.
Bill Will says giveaways are worth $5 to $1,000, but a Roy rant is priceless.
Why, thank you, Bill. Thank you.
Stephanie says loves this so much.
Awesome.
Keith, glad you're able to drop in after your company left.
Good to have you. Good to have you. So there we have it.
Nice. That came along pretty quickly.
Huh?
That came along pretty quickly.
Has, hasn't it? Comes along quite quickly.
Yeah, we do have quite a few acanthus leaf styles over at our website.
Yeah.
So depending on
There's a slew of them.
Yep.
All right. What time are we at, Jess?
We are at 5:55.
Oh, man. Okay. I didn't come close, did I? No. This is a long process, but I'll go ahead and show off a close-up of the tool. So I can show this. So let me express real quick. This is one way, just one of many, of making an acanthus leaf. So this is just a particular direction I've chosen to go to take and put in veins for an acanthus leaf. You can also do French stake repousse work. So you could do where you have a stake and a hammer, and the offset of the stake and the hammer is what raises the vein of the leaf. That takes a lot longer to do than this particular method. But it also has more of a natural flow to it and a different kind of look than what this does. This has a little bit more of a manufactured look, but it's okay on large scale. Whereas the other French repousse work French stake repousse work looks a lot better as far as on a smaller scale or for, furnishings and things like that. It's a lot better in that direction. And I believe we just lost the light.
Oh.
So I will have to change batteries real quick. And then I'll show that off. You can go back to the main cam, Jess.
All right.
We can find
Go back to main
some batteries
cam.
to swap.
While he does that, we can recap on announcements we made earlier.
Yeah, go ahead.
Let's see. Coming up soon, the Appalachian Area Chapter of Blacksmiths is having their conference in Murfreesboro, and that is going to take place May 16th through 18th. And Roy will be there demonstrating Baroque style elements on the 17th and 18th. So if you're in the area or nearby states, come on over and we'd love to meet up with you. Also,
Definitely.
we have 10% off at our store, blacksmithingblanks.com. That is running through Sunday. So if you're wanting to pick up some acanthus leaves or some hooks or hardware or tools or anything at all, you can use code SPRINGTIME to get 10% off. That is linked down in the description, and we've been posting about that over on our social media accounts as well. And lastly, newsletter. We rebranded our newsletter a month or two ago. It's called Blacksmithery Bulletin, and so if you'd like to keep up with the news about us, we recommend that you sign up for it. Right now we're doing twice a month newsletter, and it just kind of recaps on YouTube videos that we've posted, behind the scenes. If we have any specials, we post them there, and all kinds of interesting stuff.
Right on. Right on. Oh. Good recap, huh?
Yes,
Good recap.
yes.
Oh. Cool. All right, let's show off this tool a little closer, and then I'm going to very quickly go through the other portion. So where I talk about where I flip this back and forth. So, well, I'm looking at the main cam, and you already switched on me.
Oh, sorry.
I was going to say where we're flipping this back and forth. Now you can go to camera number 2.
Okay. Jump the gun.
All right. So can they see this okay?
Yes.
So there's a close-up of the tool. So you guys can hopefully see the profile of it. Can they see that okay? See the profile? I don't know. Should have something shinier, something flatter, flat looking. Can they see that okay?
Uh-huh.
Can they see the profile of it?
Yes.
Swoops?
Yep,
Yes?
Yep, that shows with the
Okay.
silver behind it. That helps.
Okay. So it's just a fuller tool, top tool, and a swedge, bottom tool. That's all it is. That's the difference of it, okay? And this is just a mild steel loop of a spring that holds that over that tool. Now these happen to be 5160, if I remember correct. Yep. These are 5160. They're just a piece of bar that I had that happened to be 5160, and they have been left as forged. So these are not hardened. These are not heat treated, but they are left as forged. So there you go. But that's how that tool should be set up. This little spring top fuller and bottom swedge combo. Now, traditionally speaking, this would have been done without any arc welding or this or that. You would have a striker, and you would have a top tool, and you would have a bottom tool and an anvil. And the striker would be doing the striking while you hold the tool and while you direct and guide the work underneath the tooling to be done. So that's how you would do it traditionally. In a modern shop, however, you don't always have the luxury of having somebody there to help you. So you do need to take and be able to do this type of stuff on your own and be able to work it out. So now what I'm going to do is I'm actually going to start from the front side. Now see, I've got these back layout lines. I don't really need to draw in the front layout lines so much because I already know where they're going to go. So now I'm going to start from this side is going to go up versus going down like it was prior. So this side here, instead of going down like it was prior, is now going to go up. And I'm going to start working on giving this leaf some additional shaping. So I'm going to start at the smallest end since we already had that in the anvil. And I'm just following right along that part that I've already lifted up. I'm just following right along that crest there. Can they see that okay? Mm-hmm. Just following right back along that line there.
Hello, Speargrass.
Hello, hello, Speargrass. Good to have you. All right, get this straightened up a little bit. Get that back in line. Can we see how that made a difference?
Yeah.
Do we see how it made quite a difference, that cupping?
Looks nice, yeah.
So it made a little bit? Mm-hmm. I think it made a bit of a difference. It gives it a little extra dimension. When this starts getting shaped out later, that's really going to count, that extra little bit of dimension there. So it's worth putting that in. Kind of crispens things up just a fuzz. And that's what we want. Okay, get that straight. So on the back side, you can see it really bulged out on the back. Can you see that there? Mm-hmm, mm-hmm. See that right there? See how it's like the reverse of this? Mm-hmm. It's harder to show off on camera than what it is to see to the naked eye. But basically what I've set up here is a bit of a high and a bit of a low. So that transition plays with the eye when you're looking at and gives depth and dimension to the piece. So worth noting that. Go to the next smaller fuller, and I'll come back and do that same thing to the next one down the list. Doing just like I did before. You see that? Mm-hmm. Yep. It'll be a little bit more apparent on the bigger pieces. Like what I'm talking about there. Now, even though I'm using this medium, this swedge and top fuller, I will actually take this acanthus leaf to French repose, we say here in America, but they're repousse. I will take this to French repousse steaks and just clean up all these lines and these transitions later on. But this is a quicker way to getting to my target goal in shapes that I'm after. This is a lot quicker way of me getting to those, and then I can refine them on the steaks versus taking all that time to try to hand hammer in each one of these little lines here from both sides. So that's looking out. That's looking quite nice. That's looking quite nice. I like that.
It does. It's getting very more three-dimensional, less flat.
Yeah, getting more dimension, ain't it?
Uh-huh.
That's the goal. And then I can always come in here if I didn't like the set on this. I can come back in and dress up the other line next to it. And we're just making this little shape here. See how pronounced that's looking? Mm-hmm. Doesn't that look good? Mm-hmm. There's a lot of flutter, ain't there?
There is. Keith says, do you put that reverse fuller on the top and bottom of each vein or just the top edge? Basically, are you forging the cross section into an S or a W?
S. So I believe S is the correct answer there. So what I'm doing is I start from one side. I'm raising the veins, my initial layout veins from one side here. So these are all coming up. Then, okay, so this side would have originally been down. Establish that. Then my secondary line here, I'm now putting up and I'm forging it down. So if you look at the cross section, it's like this S, like that. So it starts here and comes up like that. Does that make sense? So it's like a big lazy S, and then there'll be some curvature when I shape out that little leaf there. And what that is doing is that's giving me depth and richness to this piece. It's creating a height change from high to low. And so as you go across your acanthus leaves or leaf work, you want to have this constant high to low, high to low, high to low. And that's what gives it that ruffling or that crinkly look that you know and love when it comes to acanthus leaves work. Now this is just one styling acanthus leaf. There's multiple styles, but really the process is mostly the same. But there are some different tools you can employ to get different effects with it, as with anything.
Hello, Joseph Johnson.
Hello, Joseph Johnson. Welcome. Glad you could join us. I'm really happy with how that's coming out. That's coming out so nice. Can they even see? I don't think they can see that. Let me go back to the main cam. I know we got to call it quits here in a minute, but I really want to show off this cross section. So go back to the main cam, and I will. Oh my God. Oh Lordy, Lordy. It's bad. I'm trying to show off that cross section. Get it focused. I think that's good. Can they see that okay? I'm thinking. Yeah, let me put something behind it. I think that'll highlight it good. What do you think, hon?
Oh, I can't see it till I change it.
Go ahead and change camera angles. Let's
Okay.
see how that looks.
Oh yeah, yeah, that shows it quite a bit.
Does that show that S curve?
Yes, yep, sure does.
See where we're going?
Mm-hmm. Yes, that shows quite a bit.
Is that amazing or what?
Mm-hmm.
I always find this work to be amazing. Now this will be forge welded onto a much larger piece after all the forming is done. So there you go. We can go back.
Okay.
Go back to the main cam. So I'll readjust.
All right.
I want to finish doing this kind of ruffling look. I won't be able to finish the acanthus leaf because we've ran out of time. But we'll get it refocused. Hopefully that'll look good. So much stuff. It takes so much longer to do things on camera.
Dana says that looks awesome.
Awesome. Glad everybody like it. Okay, there we go. We'll move on to the... I'm actually going to stay with that one for these smaller ones. I'm going to stay with that one for these smaller ones. That'll look good. Yeah. I'm going to stay with that one for these smaller. So we'll come into here and do that. Go ahead, Jess. Questions? Comments?
Sure. Tim O'Connor says, looks great here.
Awesome, Tim.
Tabaka says, I'm glad Roy shows these details. Otherwise, I'd have done it as a W. Crawford says, more time than money here, Roy.
We got camera number 2 now?
Yes.
Okay. More time than money?
More time than money. And a couple of them were talking about yodeling.
Yodeling?
Yes, yodel.
Wow. Can they see that okay?
Uh-huh, yep.
Does that look neat?
It does.
See the differences?
Mm-hmm. Emery says, looks good, Roy.
Awesome. Glad you think so.
Robert Lana says, beautiful work as always, Roy.
Well, thank you, Robert. Greatly appreciate it, brother. I'm liking how that's coming out. That's looking really, really good. Mm-hmm. Looking really, really flash. I like that. I am liking that. Got to change this one up one more time. If I can get all the ruffling down, you guys can kind of assume the rest. So that's kind of what I'm working towards here. You guys can figure out how the how the rest will translate.
Mm-hmm.
Sweet. See how much more defined. See how much more is coming from this. This is why I say do not limit yourself. Do not limit yourself as a smith to only thumping hot iron things. There's so much more expression you can do with this great craft. And it is worth it, and it is worthy of your time and attention to do so.
GWI Railroad says, what a masterpiece, Roy.
Thank you.
Now just imagine if you're making 1,000 of those.
It's not as terrible as it could be. If you're making 1,000 of them, you're going to get real good at them.
Yep.
Or hate yourself in the process trying.
See, most of the scale has popped off.
Yep. You see that okay?
Mm-hmm.
So now I flipped. See, I started with the thing on top. Now I'm flipping it over. Now I'm going to the other side. I'm using this big fuller to start putting in my piping. This is what it's called. Starting to force out my piping. And I'm rushing it a bit, so I should slow down. Otherwise your work will get choppy. Something to consider. But I'm also trying to do this within a reasonable amount of time. Again, it's worth slowing down when you get to this stage, because you've already put some work into it. It's worth taking some time to making that work look right.
Eric says, will you one day offer samples of finished leaves for sale in different styles?
Oh, what, samples of these?
Yeah.
Probably not. It would have to be something that would be special requested. Mm-hmm. There's a lot of work in these, so.
Yeah. Dabaka says, make 1,000 and you'll make dies for the press, LOL.
This is the type of handwork that does require a lot of handwork to it. I say 6:30. Ha! Who needs to be on time for things?
Roger Caldwell says, I enjoy watching how your mind works on these types of projects, Roy. Analytical.
Yeah. Well, thank you, Roger. Is that cool or what?
And that is. That looks neat.
As you see, it would look good this way or this way.
Mm-hmm. Howdy, Ben Strickland.
Hello, Ben. I think it's coming out pretty all right.
It is. Yeah, it looks attractive either way.
Yeah.
Very expressive.
Say what?
Very expressive.
Oh, I thank you. Like me. Huh.
That's right. It's an expression of you.
So, if you all are interested in seeing more of this and seeing it in person, and all the various things that I can do in 2 days of demonstrating versus 1 hour plus of demonstrating on YouTube for a live stream, be sure to come see me in Murfreesboro, the conference in Tennessee. Right on. Okay, I think that's where I'll have to leave it because I have a bunch of kind of fuss and about work to do. But I think this kind of just goes to show you what can be done. Does that look cool?
It does. It does look cool. Pogie Forge says it's so cool to watch the transformation of the metal take place in such a short time.
Yeah. So, again, I'll challenge you. This is what I want to leave everybody with. I'll go to, are we at camera 2 still?
Uh-huh.
All right. Look at that. To that.
Mm-hmm.
Is this real smithing work? Are you a real blacksmith?
Debaka says again. Like, do it again.
This to that. Don't limit your mind to other people's expectations as to what a smith is and what a smith can and cannot do. Don't limit yourself. Explore all forms in this medium that we all love and cherish so much, called smithing. Cool. That's what I leave everybody with. That's my final thoughts on the subject. Hopefully people will appreciate those. Mm-hmm. And that's something that I actually hope to demonstrate quite well when I am at the conference and I'm demonstrating. With Baroque ironwork, especially French Baroque ironwork, there are so many elements, and this is the thing that always has me coming back for more. There are so many facets of that level of ironwork to explore. And it's everything from doing gilding work, to riveting, to forge welding, to collars, to scrolls, to like you name it, it has it. Punched holes, slitting and drifting, tenons, all forms of traditional joinery. And I absolutely love all the various expressive forms that all come together in one large computational piece, and they develop, and each little piece of that puzzle comes along, and when you collate it all together, when it comes all together, you have a masterpiece when you're done. And that's one of the things that I always find so entertaining and interesting about this great craft, is the fact that you can start with very simple elements on their own, bring them together, and make a masterpiece. And that's one of the biggest things that keeps me coming back every day to the forge, is being able to do that right there. Take the little simple things and make much more elaborate things from them. So, thank you everybody for joining us. Thank you so much to all the people who make the stream possible. Thank you to all the donators that donate to these streams and donate and buy our blanks and stuff like that, and the channel members that take and support the channel through their channel memberships. We greatly appreciate you, It goes a long way towards the shipping around here and being able to ship stuff out. So can't express my thanks enough to that. Again, Murfreesboro, Jess,
Yes.
Tennessee. Conference is from what date to what date?
That is May 16th to 18th.
May 16th to the 18th. You can come see me live in person for 2 days, where I will be going over all sorts of different elements around Baroque ironwork and French Baroque ironwork specifically, as that's the thing that I love and cherish the most out of the smithing world. And so I hope to see you there. If you do happen to be in the area, it might be worth the plane, train, or automobile ride.
Or old-fashioned foot.
Or old-fashioned foot. Feed it there. So, all right. So that's it. Congratulations to all the winners. And if we don't have anything else, Jess, I'm going to let you lead out with a poem if we have no other questions or comments.
Yes, Tim O'Connor sent a $5 super chat.
Thank you, Tim O'Connor. Greatly appreciate that, sir.
He says, for shipping, almost forgot, LOL.
That's all right. We forgive you. Just this once. Just this once. Good.
So
Good to go?
Yep.
All right.
Debaka says, thank you, Roy and Jess. A lot of fun tonight.
Yeah, had a ton of fun too as well. The next time you see us will be after conference. So, so hopefully you all can have a good spring and enjoy yourselves getting out there in the shop and smithing. So God bless everybody. We'll catch you on the next one. Go ahead and lead us out with a poem, Jess.
All right. This is from Under the Chestnut Tree, written by Speargrass, found on Amazon, titled Under the Chestnut Tree, a book of blacksmith poetry. So today I'm going to read to you on page 38, The Ancient Anvil. To the sound of pick and blasting and the splash of mountain streams, where the old black rocks show rusty in outcropping iron seams, it has come at man's compelling with fulfilling of his dreams, to the soulless giant crushing with the whir of giant wings. To the hell-like furnace fury that destroys all meaner things, it has yielded, to man's genius, its native wealth it brings. To the ring and clang of hammers and the discipline of blows, its destiny was shaped by man, as at its side arose. Smith after smith, each welding home his life's deep hopes and woes. They passed in still its iron heart and ancient iron face, keep record of those hopes and woes that time cannot efface, a monumental primeval of man's transitory race. Thank you all for joining us, and we will see you again soon.
Yep, we'll see you again soon. Oh, also, we should also let them know, no member stream this evening.
Yes.
Just let everybody know, no member stream this evening. You're off the hook. Go enjoy the great weather. Take care, everyone.